Live from Dramashop with Zach Flock. Tonight's Chip Coffey. Featuring Alaina Manchester. And now, here's Zach Flock.
Hi, everybody. It is Saturday, February 20th. I'm Zach Flock, live from Dramashop. Welcome to week 6 of my vanity project. If you're watching from home, I sincerely hope you're watching from the couch and not the toilet. If you're watching from the car, please stop. And if you're watching from the bed, hello. I don't know. I wanted to do tonight's show from Cancun, but unfortunately all the flights were already booked. NASA this week landed a rover on Mars searching for signs of life. Instead, they found Ted Cruz hiding from his constituents. Pause for angry emails from Texas. We've actually got a full house here tonight. Nicole, can you give us a quick look at the audience, please? So Senator Sanders is back. Good to see you, Senator. Oh, and look. Oh, man, that guy is everywhere but Texas right now. It was reported this week that the average life expectancy in the U.S. actually dropped by 1 year. Yeah, and unfortunately, you don't get to pick which year. Much of the country is dealing with severe winter weather, or as we say here in Erie, is it June yet? More news out of Florida this week. 2 people were busted posing as old ladies in order to get the COVID vaccine, and I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for you meddling kids. And yesterday, Disney Plus released the latest episode of the Marvel series WandaVision, or as I call it, what? I'm assuming every single joke landed tonight. Feeling really good about that. We've got a great show planned for tonight, so that's enough of me. For the entire hour tonight, we'll actually be joined live by psychic medium and star of Kindred Spirits on Discovery Plus. Chip Coffey will join us tonight. Plus, Chip was kind enough to join Alaina Manchester, Marshall Mack, and me for a remote reading of our space. We'll show you what he picked up, and Alaina, Chip, and I will discuss the experience later on in the episode. But first, as we do at the start of every episode, let's check in with the captain to my Tennille, Alaina Manchester.
Hello. What is this doing? Oh, goodness. This is good. This is good. This is a good start. I'm excited. It's fine.
Take your time. We'll cut that out in editing.
That's cool. Fix it in editing. Yeah. Take it from the top. Thank you.
So, hi, Alaina.
Hi, Zach. How are you?
I'm great. So we've got a really, really cool show. You were here for the walkthrough. We're going to share that. You and I are going to talk to Chip. It's going to be really cool. And at the end of the show, we're going to do our usual Ask Me Anything, which I know you love.
It's my favorite game. And I, with a 4-year-old, we play games all the time. And I'm like, this really isn't living up to my weekly Ask Me Anything. Try it.
How could it? Yeah, exactly. How could it?
Yeah. Yep.
If you've got questions over the course of the show for me or Alaina, mostly for Alaina, go ahead and comment on Facebook or YouTube, and we will hopefully pick up your comments, and we'll answer your questions at the end of the show. Sound good, Alaina? I'm
excited. Mostly, I'm excited for the whole time tonight. I'm going to pretend like there's somebody standing behind you.
Yeah, I got it. I am not loving being alone at the theater tonight.
I'm sure you're really loving that. So yeah,
it's
pretty excited for that.
It's great. So we'll see what happens.
I
shouldn't have said that. Should not have said that. All right, get out of here, Alaina. We will see you coming up in just a little bit. All right, folks. Really big show tonight. Really excited for this. When we come back, Chip Coffey joins me. More to come, live from Dramashop.
Hi, I'm Nicole Lossie, inviting you to check out Shop Talk, the official Dramashop podcast, featuring a rotating panel including Dramashop's own Zach Flock, Alaina Manchester, Sean Clerkin, and many special guests. Casting, directing, acting, writing, and design, we cover it all. Our complete backlog of episodes can be found on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, including a very special conversation with playwright Lauren Gunderson. Shop Talk, the official Dramashop podcast, is sponsored by Gannon University's Schuster Theater.
Hi, I'm Kate Thiem, and I'm happy to serve as a Dramashop board member. Our 10th season has been unlike any other. We've done our best to pivot to safe delivery methods, but we've had to scale back our usual production schedule. In the season of limited ticket sales, your donations are more important than ever. Your support helps us pay the rent, cover expenses, and keep Dramashop moving forward. There's a lot more to come this season, so head to dramashop.org and show your support for theater in process.
Patrick? I need more wine.
All right, folks, let's get right to it. My guest tonight has appeared on TV shows including Paranormal State and Psychic Kids. His latest show, Kindred Spirits, drops new episodes every Saturday on Discovery Plus. Please welcome psychic medium Chip Coffey to the show.
You look so official.
Right? We try to make this a real thing, you know?
You're looking absolutely gorgeous.
Oh, thank you, Chip. And you as well. The scarf looks great, as always, on point. I said before we went on air, I debated stealing that accessory from you, but that's your signature piece, and I don't want to take that from you. So
you could have done it. I encourage scarves.
Well, I appreciate that. I did wear one on my way here because it is cold in Erie. Now, you are joining us, I believe, from Georgia, right?
Atlanta, yes.
From Atlanta. All right. So, Chip, let's start at the very beginning of all of this. What is a psychic medium, and when did you discover that you had this ability?
Let's demystify and kind of pull the whole psychic word out of the woo-woo realm for a minute.
Please.
This is the way I define psychic. Psychic simply means that you have the ability or the skill set to access information or energy that you cannot get using your 5 human senses. That's what psychic means. You know things, information about people, places, and things generally. Some psychics are able to view the future, get access to the past. Some are empaths. So there's a real sliding scale of what psychic actually means. But in the big picture, it means accessing energy or information that you don't get using your 5 human senses. Mediumship means you talk to other dimensions. The big word, the fancy word is interdimensional transcommunication, communicating with other dimensions or realms. I communicate with dead people, formerly living individuals who have passed away, completed their transition into spirit, and come back periodically to communicate with us here in the 3rd dimension. Answering your second part of your question, I've always been psychic. I was born during my mother was having a near-death experience when I was born. And from that point forward, weird things happened in my life. I knew, again, things about people, places, and things. Grew up in a haunted house part of my adolescent years in central New York. Have always had spiritual, supernatural things happen in the world around me. But the mediumship came later. I didn't start talking to dead people, dialoguing with the dead until 2001. And I was quite startled by the fact that it happened. I thought actually that I'd gone crazy because one of my coworkers in the travel business where I was working at the time, her dead brother started communicating with me, and that sort of threw the door open. So 20 years I've been communicating with the dead, but all my life I've been psychic.
Anyone else in your family have similar abilities?
Some of them do. My great-grandmother on my mother's side of the family, my maternal great-grandmother, was a Native American medicine woman. And she had some very unique abilities living in the South in the early part of the 20th century. My mother had some abilities. I have some cousins who have abilities. Both sides of the family, my grandmother Coffey, we're good Southern people. Granny Coffey, here's a little play on words or names. Granny Coffey read tea leaves, so coffee and tea. So I found that awfully funny growing up. So yeah, some of my family members did have heightened abilities or specialized sort of abilities.
So, I'm just going to ask you this right at the top of the show, and I'm sure there are people watching who wholeheartedly believe in what you do. I'm sure there are some who are skeptical, and there may even be some who think, forgive my bluntness, that what you do is fake. How do you respond to that?
I don't give a shit.
Perfect. And I think that's the way to live life, right, Chip?
Well, that's my answer. if you want to feed me and clothe me and pay my mortgage and things like that, then you can have a say in how I lead my life. Otherwise, step back.
I love that. I love that. Now, I will tell you, and I mentioned to you before, my wife and I have been binge watching Kindred Spirits. For those who haven't seen it, maybe tell us a little bit about what the show is and how it works.
Kindred Spirits, how to even start what Kindred Spirits is. I kind of look at it as social work for the living and the dead. I have two co-stars on the show, Amy Bruni and Adam Berry, who have been dear friends of mine for a very long time. They were on the show Ghost Hunters for several years. And when they left that show, a couple of years later, they had their own show called Kindred Spirits. And early on, they asked me to appear on an episode in their first season. And I graciously and gratefully accepted. And then I did another episode in the second season. By the third season, I was in 50% of the episodes. So I did, I think, 5 out of 10. And then in the fourth season, I was asked to come on board as a series regular. And I did all 13 episodes. And then this season, which is our fifth season, I did 10 episodes of the show. It really is a show about people will reach out and say, I'm having some hauntings that I don't understand. Some of them being, they fear that they're being malicious or malevolent hauntings. And so Amy, Adam, and I go in to try to suss out what's going on, figure out what's going on using, myself as a sensitive to figure out from my perspective what's going on. They use a lot of instruments and electronics and gadgets to figure things out. We've done some really wild things and gone to some really wild places. Very different results at some of the places. Very, very spooky. It's kind of spooky. It's you never know what to expect or how the twists and turns are going to happen on the show. That's pretty much a brief synopsis of what it is.
Yeah, and I love that, there is real investigation involved on that show. There
Very
are some
real.
shows that are more, kind of jump scare driven, and I think Kindred Spirits takes a different approach where there's a real investigative aspect that I enjoy. I mentioned that you also appeared on Paranormal State, which is where I first became aware of you. And so when I saw you on Kindred Spirits for the first time, I was like, yes, Chip Coffey's here. This is great. But you also were on the show Psychic Kids,
Yes.
which was a little bit of a different show where you actually mentored younger individuals who were kind of discovering their psychic abilities. What was
Right.
that experience like for you?
Very rewarding. I think Psychic Kids, which we produced that show from 2007 to 2010. It's hard to believe. It feels kind of like another lifetime ago because it's been 10 and a half years since we stopped production on the show of the original Psychic Kids. It was gratifying because so many of those kids and their families were in a crisis situation, trying to figure out just what the heck was going on in their lives. And our goal was to go in and help them figure it out, to bring some level of clarity and comfort to them, and show them that it was possible to manage what was going on in their lives and not have to feel like they were a victim to it.
Yeah, I love that. So as best as you can, and you sort of started this in the first question, can you explain how is it that you do a reading? You're hearing from dead people? Are you seeing visions in your head? Are you hearing voices? I mean, I don't know if you can even explain it, but to the extent that you can, explain it.
I wish I could give you a brief tour inside my brain, or parts of my brain, because I don't think anybody wants to have their thoughts completely open to the public. But
That's fair.
It's like I know something. As from the psychic standpoint, I know something. I don't know how I know it, but I know something. It's like this afterthought almost is imprinted in my brain that just doesn't feel like it belongs to me. It feels like it's coming from an external source. And oftentimes before I even have a chance to really think about it or process it, it's out of my mouth, kind of like verbal diarrhea, honestly. And it's when I get things from a psychic reading or a mediumship reading, a spirit communication reading, it's sometimes an image like a snapshot. Sometimes it's a short video. Sometimes it's words or a sentence or a line from a book or a movie or something pop culture. It can be a feeling. It can be a taste. It can be just a sense of what I'm supposed to say to whoever I'm speaking with, a client or someone we're helping on a TV show, which I guess you could also call them a client. But there's so many different ways that material gets to me from spirit, information, energy, and I never know what that's going to look like or what's going to happen. Can I explain how it happens? I don't have a clue. I don't have a clue how it happens. It just does.
So on Kindred Spirits, give us a little bit of a behind the scenes look. How are you given any sort of information? I know there are literally times where you show up blindfolded, but I'm sure there are some times where you have some information about where you're going to be before you get there.
I will tell you that the times that I go in blindfolded, I sometimes think if I'm riding in a car that people that are passing by or looking into the car are thinking that I'm being kidnapped. And it's kind of funny. I have to control my laughter because I'm thinking there are people out there that are thinking, oh my God, we got to call the police. This poor man's being kidnapped.
Yeah, by Adam and Amy.
I know. They're that criminal activity is going to catch up with them someday.
One of these days.
One of these days. I'll be there to bail them out, though. I don't know much. I know that I've gotten an airline ticket to fly to a certain area. I know that they've put me up in a hotel. I know they've told me where to go. And generally, even when they tell me where I'm going, as far as where I'm supposed to meet someone, it's a few miles away from where the actual location is. And so they meet me usually in a parking lot somewhere. I've met in church parking lots, in gas station parking lots, in hotel parking lots, on the side of the road, at a rest stop. So I've met at all these types of places, and they send the audio person to put a mic pack on me, and they put me on hold until they want me to come to the location. And then there's oftentimes a lead car that will lead me to the location. Sometimes, as you said, people are driving me to the location, sometimes with a blindfold, sometimes without. But when I show up at the location, it's the first time. When you see me on camera on an episode, that's the first time I've been there. I don't know anything about the location. I know which city I'm in, of course, and sometimes they'll even put me in an adjoining city, so I don't even have a clue. Oftentimes they'll put me in another hotel other than the one that the cast and crew is at. And the rule has always been on any show that I've been on, if they really want to keep me completely in the dark, that the cast and crew can talk to me, but under fear of death themselves, if they say anything at all about the case we're working on.
It's really cool to hear that. I mean, that's certainly how it's presented on the show. So
that's 100% accurate. And there's been those people we talked earlier a little bit about, briefly, about critics and about skeptics. And there have been those that are, Chip's fed information, and that's just BS. They do their best to keep me like a mushroom, covered in BS and in the dark.
Yeah.
I can't tell you the number of meals I've eaten, cold meals I've eaten out of styrofoam containers, waiting in a production van to go on while there's been a backup in filming, and waiting to go into places, not knowing where the hell I'm going.
So, speaking of, you were really gracious to do a reading with us. It was actually your suggestion to do a walkthrough of our space. So we did that after last weekend's show, pulling a late night here at Dramashop last week. But we're going to show that in a minute. But before we do, I want to ask, so for the entire 5th season of Kindred Spirits, because of COVID, you're doing these readings remotely. Is that different? I mean, are spirits just using Zoom like all the rest of us? How does that work?
It's challenging. From a standpoint, I'm used to being able to travel. Before COVID, I was traveling constantly, going to film TV shows, going to events, traveling for my own pleasure every now and then. But because of some medical conditions I have, I'm diabetic and I have a respiratory condition. My doctor told me right at the start of COVID, do not travel, do not be among crowds, can't get on an airplane. Yeah. So as of today, this will probably air later, but as of today, I've been at home for 350 days, except for 20 times out of my house.
Yeah.
So
we're live right now, Chip. So this is airing right now.
oh,
Hence
if
the-
it's airing right now,
live from Dramashop.
then boys and girls, I've been at home for 350 days.
There you go.
And
there you go.
and I'm used to being on set with people, and that's lovely. And I knew that when they were graciously giving me the opportunity to film from home, I really wanted to keep my job. So what I told myself and my spirit partners was, guys, look here. We got to ramp this up. We really got to work together to figure out what's going on here, and asking all the spirits to just bring it on in, because I want to keep my job and still do a good job at it. And interestingly enough, it's worked out incredibly well. It's a totally different approach, but it's worked out very well. Some of the things that I've come up with, they're like, how the heck do you know this stuff when you're, 900, 1,000 miles away?
Yeah. So you and I spoke on the phone for the first time to kind of coordinate schedules and everything, and you started picking stuff up literally over the phone, which amazed me.
Yeah.
And then, as I said last weekend, Alaina Manchester, who was at the top of the show, and Marshall Mack from our creative team came along with another camera, and we did a walkthrough here in the space. We were all wearing masks, so I will say there are times where it's a little tricky to hear. But I want people to know that you, Chip, had very little information from me ahead of time, even though we had spoken before. And one of the things that you picked up on, as folks will see when we play the video in just a second here, was the name Audrey. You literally picked that up from the first phone call you and I had.
Right.
So I do want to ask folks who are watching at home, if you have any insight on what you see on anything that's mentioned during the walkthrough, please comment along and we'll share those comments on the screen if we can. And Chip, if you pick up on anything, please hang on to it and we'll discuss it immediately after when we bring you back in. So
Sure.
folks, take a look here. Here it is, part one of our walkthrough with Chip Coffey.
How many seats in your theater?
47.
Flip me around and show me your stage, please. Still no information on Audrey, right?
None that we could find.
I'm still curious about what that means. You'll have to keep me posted if anything pops up with it. I'm told by whoever the theater person is that hangs with you specifically that you need a ghost lamp, a ghost light. There are two spirits that hang out in this area quite a lot. One is male and one is female. The building's been a lot of things in the past. You've already told me that, and it's got a history. So could not be associated with the theater. Also, the person, and I keep getting, you're going to find out what the Audrey connection is. I don't know if she's connected with the building, she's connected with something that's close by this building, or what's going on, but there is someone definitely named Audrey that's connected somehow. Spirits don't have bodies, so they can float around and go anywhere. They can be attached to an object, they can be attached to the place, they can be attached to a person. So it could be that somebody's just floated in there, or it could be someone who's worked in that building in the past. But I know you're going to find out something with the name Audrey. I know it for sure. But in the space that you're at right now, you have a particularly one guy who feels like he's fairly tall and thin, balding, more bald than not. He's got some facial hair, and that's what I pick up from this guy that's in the space. The woman is petite. She's got a short haircut, and this woman actually looks like she's older than your theater is. She's in garb that looks in my head like the 1930s or 40s.
Are these spirits that would be able to make themselves visible to people at times, or?
I don't necessarily know the answer to that. I know they're readily kind of identifying themselves to me on doing this remote viewing sort of a thing we're doing here. They're just two spirits that are letting me know that they frequent this area. I think where people are in the audience, is that Alaina sitting in the audience?
Yep.
I would imagine that at some points in time, you might get a glimpse of somebody sitting in your seats. Just a quick, you know, like one of those things like, what the heck did I just see? And then it's like bloop and gone, right?
Yeah.
Stand right there for me, please. No, go back up just a little. What do you feel right there, Alaina, right now?
Like a fuzziness.
Because you've got somebody in that space with you right now.
Are the spirits here, are they happy here? Are they pleased here with how we treat the space or how we treat them?
Oh, yeah. Because you don't have anything at all negative in that space. Nothing.
Awesome. That's good to hear.
You just looked to your left. What did you sense?
Over there, I feel like people peek around. It's like a little bit of a lobby area. And when I come to do show, like when I direct shows or watch shows, I don't like to sit in the audience. I usually stand here or over here. And I swear there's people hanging out over here watching.
Where's your concessions area?
Over here.
Let's go in that area, Zach. Can we head up there? And I have a feeling that this is a fairly active area also. I think that you're absolutely right, Alaina, that there's activity in this area. And I think that people, let's face it, theaters are notoriously known for being haunted, and haunted not being a bad word, just meaning the presence of paranormal or spirit activity. And I think that they're attracted to the creativity, they're attracted to the emotionality of what goes on. And being an old actor myself, I will use this word only in the positive sense, but the weirdness of actors, that emotion that actors feel, because we feel things on a really visceral level. I think that that's something that also attracts the spirit energy. So I think you're right on. I think that space is a very active space. 100%. I feel that.
It doesn't feel like, for me, it doesn't feel malicious or anything.
Well, like I said before, I don't think there's anything at all malicious in your space. Have you experienced anything that you feel like that it was malicious or threatening?
In the back, I don't like the back.
So behind where our audience is, in that one section, we actually removed where the tech booth used to be. A common thing, and I guess this maybe relates more to what Alaina was describing, when our technicians would be in the booth here, they would often sense or hear noises, feel activity coming from this direction. And I did actually have a brief, I don't know, apparition, I don't know what you want to call it, from standing here in the back of the booth. I saw a full-bodied apparition over here that I did feel was malicious, but I could be wrong about what I actually saw.
From what I'm sensing in the space right now, that energy's not there.
Okay.
When you said where you felt the person was in the direction of the concessions area, that
I was here, and there used to be steps, and I came down the step and turned, and literally, I think I'll still be in frame if I'm right here, facing me. I saw a full body for like a split second, and it was gone. And I could vividly see details of it.
What details?
I saw a man who was he appeared to be in like overalls, like worker clothes, dark eyes, no feature, just, dark circles for eyes. And
okay.
I just very briefly, and then it was gone.
That's very curious. I got to be honest with you, I'm not picking up on anything about that.
That's the only time that I've ever left the theater out of fear. Yeah, back toward the concession area, I think the kind of common thing in this area is you can see the ramp. That's our entrance into the space from the hallway. And it's very common to hear footsteps coming down the ramp.
Not surprised at all.
We've all been here for rehearsals where we're around the corner on the stage, but we hear and think that someone just entered, but the door's locked. So that's our entrance. And then I'll turn around here.
Pan back. Who's that person right there in the frame right now?
That's Alaina.
Okay.
We've got Marshall over there.
Marshall's got someone back in the area where you were talking about in the tech area who's very curious about what the heck he's doing.
Is that one of the two that you mentioned before? Do you know?
Not sure, that person hasn't identified yet.
Okay.
Marshall, walk forward. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Go a little bit to your left. Keep going a little bit. That's where the person was, right there in that area.
That's where I saw the person that I saw. He's in exactly that spot where I saw the person from the booth.
Look at the history of the area and just see if anything that in any way resembles what this is, what you saw, if there's been any sort of an accident or anything like that that occurred in the area surrounding where the theater is.
So you mentioned the concession stand when we spoke on the phone. Why don't I go closer in that area and just see if anything's grabbing your attention?
Just little weird sounds come from this area. I don't think there's anything distinct that I'm picking up. I mean, just sort of knocks, weird ticks, things, you know, clinking, whatever. Those sounds come from that area every now and then. But it's just, I think it's just spirit moving around.
So far, Chip has picked up on a bald guy, a woman from the 30s or 40s, and lots of activity in our lobby area. Plus, he seems to have debunked one of my own experiences, but there's more to come when we head backstage, so take a look.
Okay, so I think we'll stop back here just in the area right behind the stage first before we actually go backstage.
Okay, I'm getting real chills when you're walking right there.
I did too, actually, as I stepped right in the spot.
You know that feeling you say that you're getting here in the South, we call it the willies.
Yeah.
It's that creepy crawly feeling up your back where you just kind of shiver.
Yep.
Some call it rabbit or something walked over your grave. Somebody walked over your grave, whatever. You know, that creepy crawly feeling. I got it when you walked right into that area.
Okay, I'm going to turn a little bit. You'll see here, this is the doorway, and there's stairs there, 3 stairs down into our backstage, into our green room and dressing room.
Is that where Alaina gets really creeped out?
Yes.
Let's walk down there, please.
So this is the green room. And then Alaina's standing in one of the 2 dressing rooms.
Why am I picking up something to do with twins?
I don't know.
No, I'm picking up something to do with twin girls. Just hold on to that if that doesn't make any sense yet.
So this is one of the 2 dressing rooms.
What's Alaina feeling right now?
Nauseous.
I would just tell whatever's there when you get in that area that they're getting too close to you and they need to back off just a bit.
Boundaries. Yes. Okay.
This is going to be very weird, but is there a microwave in your space?
Right there.
Do you smell popcorn cooking back there sometimes?
I honestly don't know. We smell cigarettes a lot, but
I'm going to go with popcorn. Think about something with popcorn because right now you guys are really small. I'm doing this on my phone and I couldn't see a microwave, so I didn't have that as a visual prompt.
Yeah.
Obviously not, because I said, do you have a microwave in the area? And if it's pretty obvious, then I can't see it because it's small. So let's connect a couple of dots and see. I don't know. We said the Audrey thing was, you know, we said, was there anything to do with Little Shop or a person that was there named Audrey? Or it could just be building attachment. There's nothing to do with any show or anything that's been done there. And I know you said there was a theater there prior to you. There's nothing been done with the show where they had 2 twin girls in it, is there?
I don't know if they've done one with twins. I could certainly reach out and ask.
Or somebody that was the parent of twins or something. There's something with twins. Almost it's kind of weird because they're wanting me to say twins and they're showing me the twins from The Shining. And Alaina's just getting the willies over there again because she's looking behind her.
I am. There's this
There-
door.
Yeah, there's a door that goes to another space that's not ours.
And you know, that could be something that's residual for however that's been reconfigured.
Yeah.
That could be residual energy from somebody that was a pathway that they often took.
Behind me here, this is under another set of stairs. This is just our tool room.
That room makes me sleepy. For some reason, I just kind of want to go. Whoa. I don't know if anybody slept in that room or if there's somebody that, I don't know. There's something weirdly that just makes me like, want to fall asleep. Haven't felt anything bad yet. That's a good thing.
Yeah. Let's move to the other dressing room. So this is dressing room number 2. I'll go.
Oh, I can just tell you this, lots of happy vibes in this room.
Yeah.
Lots of very happy vibes in this room. There have been a lot of excited, happy energy. That's what this room is imbued with. A lot of happy, excited energy in this space right here.
Just behind me here, this is, I think it used to be used as an additional dressing room. We use it as prop and costume storage. Just a small little room here.
Don't think that there's anybody that really hangs in that area too much.
So down this way, this is a room that we basically only use as storage. But as you can tell, it used to be a bathroom.
Oh my God, you're not going to believe it used to be a bathroom, you said, right?
Yeah.
I should have said something earlier because some spirit said in my head, and I'm not going to use the S word, but I'm going to use the word crap instead, said, oh my God, I crapped my pants there.
Okay. Okay. That's
Oh my God, I S my pants there.
That's new information.
Almost too much new information.
Yeah, I would say so.
That we really don't want to know that somebody actually did a boo-boo there.
Yeah.
But interesting that the next thing you said was, and this was a bathroom.
Yeah.
Is it still functional?
It is not, but actually I do think, like, I know the water is still runs. Like, when we first moved in here, 7 years ago or whatever it's been now, this toilet would flush on its own. But
Remember I said something to you the other day about toilets that would flush on their own.
Yep.
Not a lot going on in that area. The only thing was somebody just decided they would pop in and say, I pooped my pants in that area.
Okay.
I don't think I needed to know that, but here we are.
Have you had a spirit tell you that before, Chip?
I don't really remember anybody that told me about pooping their pants, but one of the topics that spirits like to talk about a lot is flatulence and farting.
Interesting.
Probably because they don't do that anymore, and they know that lots of times when you're talking about, especially with private readings I'm doing, they know that will make people laugh because farting is just funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they know that people have cried and they're so sad and about talking to their loved ones, and it's bringing back a lot of memories and things that lots of times spirits will bring up farting.
So, Chip, if we can go back out this way, I'd like to ask you about this. So I showed you this kind of doorway into the green room space. We had a report of an actor during one of our shows. He looked back here, the entire cast was on stage. He looked back here and he saw someone about where Alaina is peeking out into the space. And he thought, someone, like an actual person, had somehow gotten backstage.
Right.
And he was concerned for, people's valuables, that, wallets and things that were backstage. But the only access to the space would be the door here.
Where does that door lead?
It leads to a stairwell to the first floor.
I just think that he just happened to have an encounter with a spirit. Exactly what it was.
Yeah.
I think you've just got people that float in and out of your space.
So do you think, so the people who are back here are not necessarily the same spirits that you're picking up on out in the theater itself?
I can't say that for sure. Could be. I mean, they could be moving around. The only ones that have really identified that I don't make any sense of and we don't know about yet are, you know, there's the man, the kind of balding man. There's a woman, the little frail, not frail looking woman, but petite woman, I would say.
Okay.
And I don't know what two little girls mean, twin girls. I don't know. I don't know what that's all about. Okay, I'm going to give you something that I picked up about the man that you saw downstairs with the thing. That's an automobile accident.
Oh, really?
Yes, sir. That was an automobile accident. He just popped into my head. He's going to talk to you.
He's going to talk to us?
Now that you've acknowledged him and now that he's not meaning any sort of a threat, he just wants to be acknowledged that he's there. He just wanted to show you himself, but if you see him again, you won't see him as injured.
Oh, okay.
Wow. I just goosebumps like crazy.
I'm going to throw some names out at you again. And I know I'm hitting you with a lot of names. The one name that I picked up was an R name, and I think it's Ralph. And the other name that I picked up is Ernest. So they're just hitting you with a lot of names, and maybe just ask in the space. Is there anybody here named Ralph? Anybody want me to call you Ralph? Anybody want me to call you Ernest? You know, and ask in your space, who's Audrey?
Yeah.
What up with twin girls? There's nothing bad there. There's nothing there that wishes you any harm, any malice, any not there to cause an upset. You don't have a negative energy or grumpy. You don't even have a grumpy energy there. Sometimes you can just have somebody who's an a-hole in your space and just is just nasty for the sake of being nasty. You don't have that. And you certainly don't have anything that's demonic in your space. Nothing like that. Also, none of you individually has anything negative attached to you. Period.
Good.
Full stop. Drop mic. I think you've got an active space. And I think you've got a very cool space. And I think whoever's floating in and out, I don't know that I feel that there's anybody that's like your resident spirit. And I'm doing, because I'm holding my phone with one hand, I'm doing air quotes to you. I don't feel like there's any resident spirit really that's there. Some people may float in more often than others, but you certainly don't have anything other than your mom and pop garden variety, benevolent, benign spirits. You're peacefully coexisting in the space with whatever is there. And I think they're very responsive to interacting with you if you want to interact within reason with them. But I'm just feeling really good about your space.
So that was our walkthrough with Chip Coffey. Some answers and frankly, even more questions. I want to bring Chip back into the conversation live now. And I also want to welcome in Alaina Manchester. Chip, I'll start off with you. As you watch that back, just right off the top, did you pick up on anything else?
The only thing that I picked up on was when Alaina was in the dressing room area. You're probably going to have some more experiences with connecting with things in that area, Alaina. Okay. I'm pretty sure since you're very open to that, you'll probably have some experiences. I see on the bottom of my screen, it says that Linda Gamble has twin daughters and she performed in several shows. I think that's interesting.
Yeah, I want to ask you kind of about that, Chip, because when you're picking things up and they're mentioning twins or Audrey or Ralph, or I think Ernest was the other name, are you hearing from Audrey, Ralph, the twins, or is a spirit bringing their names to you?
It just is information. In this instance, it's just information that floated into my head.
Okay.
It wasn't any direct communication. It's just, I heard Ralph. I heard Audrey. I heard Audrey a number of times.
If the twins are still living, that would make sense to you. That would
absolutely. It could be that, but or some reason, whatever the lady's name is, I think it was Linda. It's off my screen now. But the interesting thing about it is there something going on with Linda? Is there a story with Linda about having a ghostly experience there? You know, sometimes you've just got to try to connect the dots, and you go down the rabbit hole and try to figure it out.
Alaina, I want to ask you, what was that walkthrough like for you?
Well, now I'm really excited because if I'm going to have more experiences back there, it means I'm going to get cast again. So that's fun.
Or you might be here to help clean. You never know.
Maybe that's also true.
Could be.
No, it was really exciting. It felt validating in a way because I know we've always talked about certain spots where we're like, isn't that funny? I feel a little silly standing here. Didn't I see something? And those all happened to be spots that that you, Chip, that you picked up on something. So that was nice. Yeah, it felt validating for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, we weren't obviously doing a full investigation like your colleagues on Kindred Spirits would do. We weren't doing EVP. We weren't using special cameras, anything like that. But to just hear your reading, I agree with what Alaina's saying. Certainly validated, and as we can see in the comments from others who have been involved with shows here, I think it's definitely validating. I do want to share some information with you, Chip. So. I described something that I saw, and you mentioned later on that you believed it was a person who was in a car accident. And I'll be honest, at first that didn't quite square with what I saw. I couldn't quite wrap my head around it because the way that person appeared, and I don't want to get into details, but was similar to something that occurred in a show that we were actually producing at that time in terms of the type of injuries. And it was a character who had injured himself. During that video, someone mentioned stories of a window washer who fell from the building. It's a 14-story building, who fell from the top of the building into traffic. I haven't, I just got that now, so I haven't, been able to validate or verify that. And also possibly that someone may have jumped to their death from the building as well. But the thing that I can validate, as we were leaving that night, I remembered that there had been a traffic accident actually at 10th and State, which is the intersection where we are. And I researched it and confirmed that there was one fatality, a male. And that accident actually happened just 4 months before I saw what I saw here in this space. Does that mean anything to you?
I think it could be any one of those things, and unless someone comes up and shakes hands with you and says, "Hello, my name is John Doe Spirit." You're never really always going to know who it is. You've got to, again, we talk about connecting dots and trying to figure things out. That's what an investigation is all about. When you really have a location, you've got to do your historical research. Oh, my dog is agreeing with us. We got to do this live broadcast. You got to do historical research. You've got to do things that are giving you information about what may be going on in a location. So we may never know what it is. I can just tell you what I picked up, and hopefully, you've got a couple of possibilities that are there. And I mean, if you really want to continue to try to pursue what it was, you can do that. But in the long run, you may never find out.
Sure. And interestingly, that person did have an R name, but it was not Ralph. But again, as you say, could be any number of spirits. Alaina, I know we got an email from one of our actors, if you want to mention.
Yeah, we got an email from one of our actors, Judy, and she said that during a production, she felt a whoosh of air back in that first dressing room, the one that I'm not the biggest fan of. She got like a whoosh of air, and then she caught a glimpse of a young woman with long, dark hair in that mirror in that first dressing room. So, I'd never seen anything. I just know that I do not like to be alone in that room. But luckily, with such small dressing rooms, you're really never alone. There's usually a living person there. So yeah, once we started putting feelers out, we did have more people coming forward and saying, "Hey, I saw something too," and I got the heebie-jeebies in that spot too, and it's kind of interesting.
Well,
yeah, go ahead, Chip.
As we said before, theaters are notoriously haunted places because of the emotion that is running rampant. Not only from the actors on stage, from technicians, from the people in the audience feeling emotion about what's going on and being presented to them. So it's a very emotionally active place. And you've got history in not only in the theater, but in the building itself, immense history there. And as we spoke about when we were walking through your space, You can have people that'll just float in. And the people that are there can bring people with them. So you got a whole lot of dead people all over the place. One thing that we can very, very plainly and positively say about your space is that you got an active space. 100%. There's activity there. And there's no reason to believe that that's ever going to stop.
Yeah, and I did reach out to Michael Weiss, who I saw commenting as well. He was the director of the theater that was here prior to us. And he told me the footsteps on the ramp were a common occurrence during his time
I saw
in the theater.
that.
And he also mentioned that the backstage area that you said was a very positive energy had actually been used as a break room and a ladies' lounge at different points in the building's history. So I thought that was interesting as well. Alaina, you want to follow up on that point about theaters in general?
Well, actually, I wanted to ask. So, Chip, you have a background in theater.
I do.
And as a director and a performer, I'd love to get your take on how you, as a spiritual person, or however you want to say that, like being an open person that way, how do you use that to inform, or do you not use it to inform theater or acting or performing or that side of thing? How do you use it to inform your storytelling?
I really think that I use it from the standpoint that I allow myself to feel. I allow myself to experience things. I go, I try not to censor. I try to just go through the feeling, go through the emotion, experience, that whole, and sense memory. I mean, all those things that you talk about as actors, all those things really involve things about being in touch with the world around you, being in touch with yourself. All those things. And I think all that, how many times if someone's sad or something, and they're really not giving you visual cues, do you feel their sadness? And sometimes if they're not feeling well, you may start to feel a little off. So that empathic sort of thing that goes on amongst those of us who just feel things very intensely. And so that's the way I kind of try to imbue anything that I've done in the past in theater with being a visionary and painting a picture and having it be a very evocative experience. Especially if I've been writing a play or directing something, I really want it to reach out and grab the audience in a very real way. And I think that just that whole experience, feel it, be in the moment, just be in touch with everything that you're sensing and affecting your being. I don't know if any of that made sense.
It does make sense.
Absolutely. And Chip, I know Alaina and I have both had our share of unusual experiences, paranormal and otherwise. So I'm curious, are we psychic, or are we full of shit, or are we somewhere in the middle?
Well, if you're not full of shit, I don't want to have any part of you anymore. FOS is a wonderful thing. People say, do you think you're crazy? And I'm like, as a shithouse rat, and that's
why I love Chip Coffey. That right there is why I love
I'm lunatic. And I make no apologies for it. I wear it like my scarf, a badge of honor. Yeah. Of course you're psychic. You're picking up stuff. We wouldn't be here unless you guys had reached out and said, we've got some weird stuff going on in our space. And some people are magnets for it because you're so open to the possibilities. And my darlings, here's the deal. Part of that has to do with the fact that you're artists. You're visionaries, you're artists, you're creative, you feel things intensely. You're in this freaking neurotic world of theater and entertainment. And it's a crazy existence. I was in it for a gazillion years, and in a certain way, I've remained a part of that in a different venue, so to speak. But of course you guys have abilities. Of course you do. Well, everyone has abilities, but I'm going to say you guys have heightened abilities because you're paying attention to them.
Yeah. As a magnet, as somebody who is a magnet, and for artists who just feel a lot, or just people that, how do you keep your energy up, or how do you stay grounded? How do you protect yourself?
That's an hour-long show that we could talk about, but I can tell you that I was raised Catholic. I hold on to some of my Catholic beliefs. I wear a lot of Catholic bling around my neck, like a St. Michael and a St. Benedict medal and a cross. My mom's St. Jude medal she was wearing until she passed. I have religious and spiritual iconography all around the room and all through my house. I nap. That's the way I rejuvenate myself. I love me some naps.
Okay.
I love me some naps. I love to sleep. I maybe it's because I get a chance to be out of my body or whatever. But, people ask me if I've got any real rituals that I do. Not really. Maybe it's because I'm too lazy. I don't know. And by the way, let me throw something out there to you, Alaina. Are you at your home?
Yeah, this is my home.
Who's the old lady that hangs out in your house?
Probably my grandma.
Is that your mom's mom?
Yes, sir.
You're the princess.
Oh, that's nice.
You're the princess. You've always been somebody who was always into, and I'm going to give you this. You've always been somebody that was into the whole make-believe, whatever stuff. And you've got a special part. You got a special connection to her from the standpoint. I don't know if you were first granddaughter, oldest granddaughter, whatever. You got a special connection to this woman. Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Does she have an M in her name or a particular an M sound in her name?
I will look into. I mean, her name was Shirley, and her last name was Stratton, but that's her married name. But I could. I'd have to look into some stuff about name and parentages. There's some muddiness in the water.
Alaina, might we be a further generation back?
Carmela was her mother, my great grandmother, whom I never met.
Who's the one that wagged their finger constantly?
That would be Shirley. That would also be Carmela.
Well, all right. So
my mom's in the comments and she's saying Manna. Her maiden name was Manna.
Your grandmother?
Yes, sir.
Hi, Denise. I'm waving to you. You got a
Denise
great
is my mom.
you got a lovely daughter. I just want you to know that.
Hi, Mom.
You've got grandma there, and you've always been this artistic, weird child.
Yes, I have been a weird.
Since you popped out of what's your mom's name again?
Denise.
Since Denise popped you out, you've been this weird.
I was born during a tornado, and I just never stopped.
See, how can you? And going back to Zach, you got kind of dragged into this a little innocently, but it intrigues you completely. And here's the thing with Zach that you must know, Alaina, it scares the shit out of him.
I suspected.
Chip, I am alone in this theater right now. Like, literally.
Oh, no, you're not. Oh, no, you're not.
I know, man.
You're not alone in that theater. What's behind you?
That was my game.
Posters are behind
you.
me.
Yeah, you think?
Oh, man,
we're in the safety of our homes, Alaina. Sucks to be Zach.
Yeah,
sure
me
does.
and Shirley, we're here, and Zach is there.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, though, after having done the walkthrough with you last week, Chip, coming into the theater today, the first thing I did when I got here was I spoke out loud and said, I'm here to do a show tonight. I hope you all have a good time, and don't scare me, and I won't scare you, and we'll have a good time together.
You're like the rest of us. We can get startled by things. But the thing that you got to position in your brains and everybody that's in there is they're just there to share your space.
Yep.
And as I said to you before, if anything shows up and it turns out that you think you're having a problem.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Chip, I had a million questions that we didn't get to, but that's okay. Maybe we'll talk again in the future and do this again. I do want to let people know about Kindred Spirits. 5th season is dropping new episodes weekly on Discovery Plus. You can also watch the first 4 seasons on Discovery Plus as well. And you can learn more about Chip and even book a personal reading at chipcoffey.com. Chip, any final thoughts where we end it tonight?
I'm just sending you guys a lot of love. Stay warm and stay safe. And keep me posted on how things are going at the theater. I'd be curious to know.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. And same to you.
Thank you.
All right, folks, we will take
Stay
a
warm.
quick break. And when we come back, Alaina and I will answer some questions maybe.
We'll
Or
answer
just talk.
it. We'll answer
More coming
it.
up live from Dramashop right after this.
Did you know members of our community come together online every month to talk about plays? It's the Dramashop Book Club, and it's open to everyone. Join us for informal conversations about plays curated by Dramashop's creative team. Scripts can be purchased at dramashop.org, but you don't have to buy from us to participate. Even if you haven't read the play, you're welcome to attend at no cost. For a list of plays and meeting dates, head to dramashop.org. Dramashop Book Club, proudly sponsored by Ember and Forge.
We've got the gear every theater geek needs. Even though our venue is closed, you can still stock up on Dramashop apparel, like our Different and Theater Geek t-shirts. Plus, stock up on Dramashop book club selections and scripts from some of our recent productions. Order online at dramashop.org, and we'll ship directly to your door. So even when you can't show your support by coming to the theater, you can wear your Dramashop pride on your sleeve. Support theater in process. Shop today at dramashop.org.
Trying not to be freaked out by the fact that my camera went a little wonky on its own during the break. Hey, let's do Ask Me Anything. And let's bring in Alaina Manchester once again.
Hey, that was fun.
Yeah, I'm going to fix my shot. This is live TV, right? Okay.
This is where we expect somebody to pop out from behind you.
Oh my gosh. That's better, yeah? Okay. Oh man.
It's
I
okay.
don't even know.
No, you're fine.
We've gone long. It's past 9 o'clock. My mother has probably tuned out if Dateline or 48 Hours is on tonight. That's okay.
Sorry, Donna.
How are you, Alaina? How you doing with all of that?
I'm wearing like an inch of foundation, or else you'd see I was blushing.
Yeah.
Mr. Coffey. Oh my goodness.
Well, look, having met Shirley, if she wants to be known, she's going to make herself known. So.
I am sure she elbowed some other folks out of the way to make herself known. And
I don't honestly know if anybody asked any questions for you and me tonight, because I think people were very focused on what was happening. But do we have a question? We do have a question for Alaina.
Well, a lady never tells, but luckily I don't see a lady here. No, my glasses are all very real and very cheap. So they cost not much. So
Well, that's good.
I'm sure Johnny Depp's got me beat.
Nicole, did we have any other questions tonight? I bet we didn't, because we were so... Yeah, no, that's not a real one. We're going to skip those. I feel like we just need to kind of debrief.
Are you okay? Let me ask you some questions.
Yeah.
Are you okay? How's your pulse? You're looking a bit peaked. Are you fine?
You know what? I mean, let's just chat. So, we've all heard the noises, and Chip, acknowledged that. And it's interesting to be sitting alone in the theater at this desk over here and having Chip talking about, oh, well, you just hear noises and you have people moving in and out. And of course, I'm hearing noises around me that could be, the building creaking, could be nothing. But, it's a little spooky in here, I feel.
It's a little pooky. Yeah. I mean, it was really nice for me to be in the space again. I haven't been there in a while. And, at my work, I mean, I'm lucky enough to work at a theater, right? But I'm not a performer there. I get to be a performer at Dramashop. So it's a whole different feel to me. It's more vulnerable anyways. And he got it right on the money, which was really nice. And we didn't even take him to the basement. So
yes, I will point. That's a really good point. We did not go anywhere outside of Dramashop proper because we didn't want to invade anybody else's space or anything like that. I know some folks have said things about the elevators. That's a topic probably for another show entirely. But yeah, no, my big takeaway for the night, Alaina, and I think yours too. Yep, Missy, I know exactly what you're talking about, and I don't want to talk about it right now. My big takeaway for the night, though, is that there's nothing negative here. There's positive energy and there's curiosity, and I think that's all good.
I think so. I mean, and whatever anyone's beliefs are or anything, I think theaters, like Chip was saying, they're places of creativity, they're places of inspiration, and wherever that comes from, who knows? And so they're positive places. And I know at our theater and the theaters around here that I've worked with, like, we're always worried about telling the story, connecting to people, respecting boundaries, consent. So I would hope that that would resonate on an energetic level, you know, whatever
Yeah.
you're.
And it all comes down to that energy, I think. You know, how much energy do we expel when we are on stage, and how much energy does the audience put out there for us? I mean, it's such a back and forth. And, you know, I've always kind of gone back to the law of conservation of energy. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. You know, so where does it go? So yeah, you know, what a great opportunity. And I'm so glad that Chip took the time to talk to our little theater in Erie, Pennsylvania. So,
Well, also, we've been doing this COVID thing for a year, right? So we've been doing COVID digital theater, which is its own art form, and we're all figuring it out. But nobody would say that it is the same as being in front of a live audience.
oh,
And
absolutely.
energy, whatever, chi, prana, energy, whatever you want to call it, it's a thing. And so theaters have to be these places where that has happened. And man, I miss it, you know? And
But we will get back to it soon, and
absolutely, we'll get
hopefully,
butts in those seats.
Yep, and we'll have some updates for you probably in the
There
next
might
few
be
weeks.
ghost butts in the seats right now.
I hope so. I truly hope so.
That's nice.
And I love what Missy just said. Even though the spirits are present there, she always feels safe in the Renaissance Center. So that's great to know as well. And I think that's a great place to end for tonight. So Alaina, thank you, friend, for being here tonight. Thank you for going on our little adventure last weekend and sharing that with our audience. And all the love to you and your family.
Same Z's. Bye, Donna.
Right. Good night, Alaina. Folks, I do want to let you know next week we have an exciting show for you, just like we do every week. She is one of the best percussionists in any pit in Erie, and we're so excited that she's been in ours before. We're going to talk next week to Liz Allward on the show. I'm super excited about that. And our musical guest, she's rescheduled. She couldn't make a previous show, but Krista Perry will join us next week for a couple of musical performances as well. And then we'll have some additional news about upcoming shows and about Dramashop's Act 2 that we've been kind of holding off on. We have some updates that we'll share next week, if not sooner. So stay tuned for that. Thank you, everybody, for a wonderful show tonight. A huge thanks to Chip Coffey, Alaina Manchester, and Marshall Mack as well. And, of course, thanks to Nicole Rossi for holding down the fort and making us all look good from her home where she's running the show. So thanks to Nicole, and thanks to all of you for watching. We will see you next week at 8 o'clock right here live from Dramashop. Good night, everybody.